And I know it wasn't announced that Caitlin Clark wouldn't play until right before, but this is a preseason game where Clark is not available, and yet
You want to body slam me? Fine. That was essentially Sophie Cunningham's response after Mystics rookie Kiki Iriafen delivered a flagrant foul that could have injured the Fever's new addition.
This proves there is an agenda against the Indiana Fever. There is an attack agenda.
Toughness, unity, and the willingness to stand up for each other. The Fever proved they're no longer a team to be pushed around. It was the birth of a new identity for the Indiana Fever.
You want to body slam me? Fine. I'll drop 21 points on you. That was essentially Sophie Cunningham's unbelievable answer after a Mystics rookie delivered a shocking foul that could have seriously hurt her. This wasn't just a preseason game. It was the night the Indiana Fever, playing without their superstar Caitlin Clark, refused to be pushed around any longer. Forget last season's team. This was something entirely different, tougher, unified, and ready to fight back. Was this the exact moment the Fever's new identity was forged in fire?
Austin looking backdoor and got it to Cunningham.
You guys know what else we're seeing in all these videos? Movement. AB. Up there comes Kelsey around the top. There goes Lexi Hull, back door. Sophie Cunningham, back door. Lexi Hull goes back out to the corner. God forbid, folks, we are seeing things that we haven't seen at all last season.
As the fourth quarter unfolded, the Fever's comeback gained serious momentum with Cunningham at the center of their attack. The Mystics' lead evaporated. What was once a 15-point advantage had disappeared completely. The game headed to overtime, setting the stage for Cunningham's final act of revenge. In the extra period, Cunningham took complete control. Clutch baskets, crucial free throws. She delivered when it mattered most. The Mystics players who had tried to intimidate her earlier could only watch as she fell, even on the sideline. Her communication, everything. She's definitely an X factor. The irony was perfect.
The game started under a cloud of uncertainty. For the first time in 5 years, stretching back through her entire iconic college career and her rookie WNBA season, Caitlin Clark was on the sidelines. Coach Stephanie White made the call, protecting her star from what Clark called a little tightness in her left leg. "We need to think long-term," White stated, a necessary move with a grueling longer season ahead. But in the immediate moment, it left the Fever looking incredibly vulnerable. That vulnerability showed instantly. The first quarter was rough. Indiana stumbled out of the gate, outscored 24-13, as Washington established complete dominance. Missed shots, stagnant offense. The Fever looked completely disjointed. The deficit quickly swelled to 15 points, and you had to wonder if this game was slipping away before it even truly began. They looked slow, lethargic, stuck.
Targeted ended up being the primary reason for their defeat. The intimidation tactics completely backfired. Instead of breaking Cunningham, they unleashed her. How did Sophie Cunningham respond to being body slammed by Kiki Iriafen? By torching the Mystics for a game-high 21 points, grabbing 8 rebounds, and delivering the knockout blow in overtime. The message was crystal clear. You can try to bully Sophie Cunningham, but you'll regret it when she makes you pay on the scoreboard.
We have people that aren't going to put up with the nonsense this year. You want to try the Fever? Go ahead and try us. Go ahead and try. 1 through 5. Somebody's going to step up and get in your face. Someone's going to step up and say, you need to relax. Whether it's DeWanna Bonner here or Sophie Cunningham on the bottom of your screen. You mess with this team, we have some people that are going to stand up for themselves and stand up for others.
When the final buzzer sounded at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, something much bigger than a preseason win had just happened. We witnessed the birth of a completely different Indiana Fever team. Last season, this was a squad that opponents could push around.
Well, first and foremost, they play so hard. They play with multiple levels of effort. They're both just tough as nails. They have length. They use their length really well. Their activity level on the defensive end and offensively. I mean, they're like mirror images of one another. I mean, the way that they can cut, the way that they can spread the floor, and what they bring on the defensive end of the floor.
The most telling moment came after the game. Washington Mystics players, the same ones who delivered body slams and shoves throughout the night, refused to shake hands. They walked straight to the locker room,
I mean, look, the biggest thing is we got to think long term. Like, we got to make sure that we're not putting Caitlin at risk for injury. We're not putting our team in a position, where we're thinking short term and not long term. It's a long season, 4 more games than last season. So we want to make sure that we're extra cautious and put her health and wellness first and foremost. And honestly, it's been one day at a time. How she's reacted to treatment, how she's reacted to workouts. So positive progress is being made, but we can't be short-sighted.
Sensing blood in the water, the Washington Mystics came out swinging, literally. Their game plan seemed clear: physical intimidation, push the Fever around, test their resolve without Clark, and dare anyone to respond. For a while, it worked perfectly. They dictated the tempo with aggressive play, making Indiana uncomfortable on every possession. It looked like it might be an easy night for Washington against a starless Fever squad. But then, a spark emerged from the Indiana bench. Lexi Hull entered the game with infectious energy, providing a much-needed jolt. She was everywhere, disrupting Washington's offense with 4 crucial steals and chipping in 13 vital points. Hull did the dirty work, bringing the hustle that started to slowly turn the tide, keeping the Fever within shouting distance despite their struggles.
The first quarter was brutal for Indiana. Deficit ballooned to 15 points, and fans watching had to wonder if this game was already over before it really began.
This team came out very slow, very lethargic, very stuck in the mud, very dragging ass, didn't have energy to them, didn't have flow to them. Stephanie White seemed frustrated. We were down 15. Stephanie White called the timeout, and she must have stuck her foot up her team's ass and said, you see this arena? You see all these fans that came to watch you guys? 12,461 people. They didn't come to watch you guys bullshit. They didn't come to watch you guys drag ass. Let's play some defense and let's get it together offensively.
And added 13 crucial points to keep Indiana within striking distance, bringing that spark when the team needed it most.
I saw Sophie Cunningham playing out of this world. Made me feel good. I saw ball movement on offense. Made me feel good. I saw no volleyball passes on. Made me feel good. I saw fight from everybody that was on the court at once. There was no 4 versus 5 when it came to fight, heart on the. We weren't lacking that today. We weren't lacking heart at all. And in case people thought this team might be lacking some heart, you got one thing coming to you. You think you're gonna be pushing around Sophie Cunningham like that? Don't worry. Sophie, I got this.
Oh my God. Sophie's a dog. She just is, she's a competitor. She's versatile, so she allows us to do different things. Like, she plays with such a toughness. She's huge, and she's going to be for us all season long. But what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Hell, even on the sideline. I mean, her communication, everything. She's definitely an X factor.
So what sparked these confrontations? Was it frustration from the Mystics as their lead diminished? Was it a deliberate strategy to intimidate the Fever's new addition? Whatever Washington's plan was, it completely backfired. Rather than breaking Cunningham's spirit, they unleashed her competitive fire. Rather than intimidating the Fever, they unified them. And rather than securing a victory, they set the stage for one of the most satisfying comeback wins you could imagine. The Mystics tried to bully Sophie Cunningham, and they were about to deeply regret it. How do you respond when opponents try to physically intimidate you? Sophie Cunningham had a simple answer: drop 21 points and lead your team to victory. That's exactly what she did following those brutal confrontations with the Mystics.
Just as Indiana started finding some rhythm, cutting the lead down, the game took a dramatic and ugly turn. With about 5 minutes left in the first half, Mystics rookie Kiki Awafiso committed a foul on Sophie Cunningham that went way beyond hard basketball. As both battled for position, Awafiso grabbed Cunningham and violently threw her to the hardwood. It looked more like a move from a wrestling match than a basketball play. The crowd gasped. Players froze. Cunningham, thankfully uninjured, immediately sprang to her feet, getting right in Awafiso's face, shouting, "You don't do that!" Officials quickly intervened, reviewed the play, and assessed a flagrant 1 foul. Honestly, watching the replay, it felt lenient. The intent seemed clear.
Lexi Hull gets a nice steal here, runs down the court, finds Sophie Cunningham, who pumps up the...
Thrown on the drive. High arcing pass. It was too high. Hull pulls down the rebound. Here's Cunningham again. Cunningham, coast to coast. What a first half for Sophie Cunningham.
And this is as we've clawed back after being down 15.
After getting body slammed by Iriafen, something visibly changed in Cunningham's approach. The anger in her eyes transformed into laser-like focus. You could see it in her movement, more decisive, more aggressive. She wasn't just playing basketball anymore, she was making a statement. Cunningham started attacking from every angle. Mid-range jumpers, drives to the basket, three-pointers, her offensive arsenal was on full display. The Mystics kept trying to body her, anyone. In this video, we'll break down everything that happened, and how the Washington Mystics reacted post-game after the bullying. If you stand with Indiana, comment Spicy Sophie down below. Let's go. Why? Because they had just watched their own tactics get turned against them by a team they thought they could bully. Over 12,000 fans packed the arena. Crowd erupted with every defensive stop, every made basket, and especially when Fever players stood up for each other after those cheap shots.
You want to make sure that your home court is special to you as a team, but you want to make it hard as heck for other people to come in here to Gamebridge, and they don't want to play here, right? And I think with that, as an energy player, you got to get your fans involved. That's our sixth man right there.
But the targeting of Cunningham wasn't over. Later in the game, Washington's Brittany Sykes delivered another unnecessary shove, sending Cunningham crashing down again. It wasn't subtle, it felt deliberate. This time, however, the Fever response was immediate and unified. Veteran Dawana Bonner instantly stepped up, confronting Sykes, signaling a powerful shift. Last year, the Fever might have absorbed that hit. This year, mess with one, you mess with the whole team. Bonner's action sent a clear message. The days of pushing Indiana around without consequences were over. A new protective culture was clearly taking root. The Mystics thought their physical tactics would break Indiana. Instead, they awakened a sleeping giant. How do you respond to being targeted, thrown down, and shoved? If you're Sophie Cunningham, you respond by unleashing hell. After getting body slammed, something visibly shifted. The initial anger morphed into intense, laser-like focus. Her movements became sharper, more decisive. She wasn't just playing, she was on a mission. Cunningham attacked the Mystics relentlessly. Mid-range jumpers, aggressive drives to the basket, crucial three-pointers. Her entire offensive game was on display. Washington kept trying to body her up, bump her off her spots, but each physical play seemed to only fuel her fire, making her more determined. She finished with a game-high 21 points, shooting an efficient 6 for 11 from the field and a near-perfect 7 for 8 from the free throw line. This wasn't just scoring, it was a calculated dismantling of the team that tried to intimidate her.
This was a total team transformation. Lexi Hull snatched 4 steals, diving for loose balls and disrupting passing lanes. Her defensive intensity perfectly complemented Cunningham's offensive explosion. Mitchell, Boston, Hull, and Cunningham, they all showed the new identity taking shape right before our eyes. The veteran additions have completely changed the team's DNA. Cunningham and Dawana Bonner aren't just bringing scoring and rebounding. They're bringing an attitude, a toughness that's spreading through the entire roster. When Iriafen body slammed Cunningham, notice how quickly Bonner stepped in. That didn't happen last year.
We put Sophie in position where she was running the point guard, right? We put Lexi in position at the end of the game where she was running the point guard. And so I'm thankful to have players like that who are comfortable being uncomfortable and doing what's necessary for our team to find success. I mean, that's part of, one of our core values is be selfless, and sometimes that means playing out of position. And I thought they both did a great job of that, but really like their energy and competitive spirit.
Coach White focused on the fundamentals that made this win possible. The Fever hit an incredible 27 of 28 free throws. That's 96.4%. In close games, those points at the line become the difference between winning and losing. The defense also stepped up huge.
I liked our aggressiveness. I liked the fact that we picked up, pretty much 94 feet, that they didn't get anything easy. I mean, it's not often that you come out with a win in games where you shoot 30% from the floor. And I felt like our defense really held, gave us an opportunity to get back in the game, gave us an opportunity to finish the game.
This wasn't just a regular win. This was a statement. The Indiana Fever aren't the same team that opponents pushed around last season. They're tougher, more resilient, got each other's backs when things get rough. The Mystics tried to use physical intimidation as a strategy, and it completely backfired. Instead of breaking the Fever's spirit, they unified them. Instead of establishing dominance, they awakened a sleeping giant. That's why they couldn't face the Fever in the handshake line. They had just witnessed the birth of a team that won't be bullied anymore, a team that turned their own physical tactics against them.
This isn't the soft Fever team that you can push around last year. That's all. Let's just push them around and bully them because nobody on that team has any to step up to us. Don't worry, we took the offseason seriously.
This preseason win showed us something truly. Clark returns to join warriors like Cunningham, Hull, and Bonner. Watch out. Special developing in Indiana. The Fever aren't just Caitlin Clark's team anymore. They're a group with heart, fight, and an identity built on toughness. When the 2025 Fever might become the team nobody wants to face. They have scoring, defense, and now they have attitude. The message from this game couldn't be clearer. Try to bully the Indiana Fever at your own risk. They're standing up for each other. They're not backing down anymore, and they're just getting started.
Lexi Hull looked the most confident I've ever seen Lexi Hull look. Lexi Hull looked the most confident I have ever seen Lexi Hull look, putting the ball on the ground, taking it to the rack, shooting threes, middies, turnaround fades. Whether they went in or not, we can get into that another day once the season starts. But the fact that she's confident enough in her game to where she's at least willing to try to do something to make the offense happen, to create points, to create confusion among the defense.
And suddenly that massive lead didn't seem so insurmountable.
Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull, these two players. Sophie Cunningham gave us 21, Lexi Hull gave us 13. The Blonde Bombers is what they're calling them. We were down 15 in the first half. Why were we down 15? We cut it to within 3 at halftime.
It came from unexpected heroes stepping up collectively, playing with heart, and refusing to back down from Washington's physical challenge. Little did the Mystics know that physical approach would soon backfire in dramatic fashion. With the Fever starting to find their groove in the second quarter, everything changed in an instant. The game shifted dramatically when Mystics rookie Kiki Iriafen delivered what can only be described as a body slam to Sophie Cunningham with 5 minutes left in the first half.
And I know it wasn't announced that Caitlin Clark wouldn't play until right before, but this is a preseason game where Clark is not available, and yet you probably...
This wasn't just a hard basketball play. This was something you'd expect to see in a wrestling ring. Cunningham, she was moving without the ball, creating space, and causing problems for the Mystics' defense. Then came the confrontation that changed everything.
Probably have 10,000 people here and a real home court advantage.
That's Sophie Cunningham. There you go. I mean, she's right there saying, don't you do that. She's telling the rookie right now.
As both players battled for a rebound, Iriafen grabbed Cunningham and violently threw her to the hardwood. The crowd gasped. Teammates on both sides froze for a split second. And then Cunningham sprang to her feet, immediately getting in Iriafen's face.
And that's Kiki Iriafen, and I got to tell you, here we go with the smiling like you've done. I don't get it. This is the worst part of the WNBA. It is.
You don't do that. You don't do that, Cunningham shouted, her words crystal clear even from the broadcast. The officials quickly stepped between them, but the damage was done. They reviewed the play and assessed a flagrant 1 foul against Iriafen, a call that frankly seemed lenient given how dangerous the play looked.
I mean, yikes. Kiki, the new Kennedy. A lot of people not happy. Demon Sophie, yeah, she showed up. Look at this. They're celebrating that. Okay. I mean, it's crazy. Here we go again. Here we go again. She's yelling while Kiki's laughing in her face. Never seen a rook have a vet so rattled.
But the Mystics weren't done targeting Cunningham. Later in the game, Brittany Sykes delivered another unnecessary shove, sending Cunningham crashing to the floor again. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't basketball. It was bullying, plain and simple. A clear pattern emerging of Washington players singling out Cunningham.
This was another one right here. This was Brittany Sykes, and DeWanna Bonner got involved in this one. She did. Little standing on business.
Cunningham's impact, however, went far beyond the scoreboard. She grabbed 8 tough rebounds, hustled for every loose ball, and played with an infectious intensity that lifted her entire team. Coach White perfectly captured it postgame, calling Cunningham a dog, basketball's ultimate compliment for a player with relentless fight and heart. She plays with such a toughness, White said. She raises the level of play of everybody around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Fueled by Cunningham's fire and Hull's hustle, the Fever clawed their way back. That daunting 15-point deficit vanished. The defense tightened, holding Washington in check while the offense found its rhythm. The game, incredibly, headed to overtime. And in that extra period, Cunningham delivered the final blows, hitting clutch shots and crucial free throws to seal an improbable victory. When the final buzzer sounded on the Fever's overtime win, the scoreboard showed more than just points. It showed resilience, heart, and the birth of a brand new Indiana Fever identity. Last season, this team often wilted under pressure, backing down when opponents got physical. Not anymore. The most telling sign? Reports surfaced that the Washington Mystics players, the same ones dishing out the hard fouls, walked straight to the locker room, refusing the traditional post-game handshake line. Why? Perhaps because they had just witnessed their own intimidation tactics utterly backfire, turned against them by a team they expected to fold. They likely couldn't face the team they tried and failed to bully. This transformation wasn't just about Cunningham. It was a total team effort, energized by over 12,000 roaring fans who packed Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The crowd exploded with every defensive stop, every hustle play, and especially when Bonner stood up for Cunningham. Sophie herself called the fans the sixth man, crediting their energy for fueling the comeback. Lexi Hull's defense was tenacious. DeWanna Bonner brought veteran poise and toughness, and the team as a whole played with a newfound grit. Coach White pointed to crucial fundamentals, hitting an astounding 27 of 28 free throws, 96.4%, and playing suffocating defense. I felt like our defense really held, gave us an opportunity to get back in the game, White explained. That defense and poise under pressure were things often missing last season. This wasn't just a preseason victory, it was a declaration. The Indiana Fever sent a message to the entire league. They are not the same team. They are tougher, they are resilient, and they have each other's backs. The Mystics tried bullying tactics, and it spectacularly backfired, uniting and igniting their opponent. Think about this. If this is the fight, the heart, the sheer toughness the Fever show without Caitlin Clark, what happens when their superstar rejoins warriors like Cunningham, Hull, and Bonner? This game revealed a team with scoring, defense, and now a serious attitude. Try to push the 2024 Indiana Fever around? Do it at your own peril. They won't back down, and they're just getting started.
The Fever's bench erupted. This wasn't the same Indiana team that got pushed around last year.
This is the first time we're witnessing this. They're attacking Sophie Cunningham just like they did Caitlin last year. There is an agenda against this basketball team, and I'm calling it out right now. The league better step in immediately. They better step in immediately. We better not be dealing with what we dealt with last year with Caitlin.
Incredibly vulnerable in the moment.
Sophie Cunningham, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal in 11 minutes off the bench in the first half. Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull played a majority of this game for the Indiana Fever. And they played together a majority of the time they were in this game. Sophie Cunningham showed exactly why we brought her in here. We won that trade hands down. Hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We won the Sophie Cunningham trade.
But Cunningham's impact went beyond just putting the ball in the basket. She crashed the boards for 8 rebounds, hustled for loose balls, and played with the kind of intensity that fires up an entire team. This is exactly why Coach White called her a dog after the game. Basketball's highest compliment for a player who brings relentless fight. Bump her, throw her off her game. But with each physical play, Cunningham only seemed to get stronger, more determined. Her efficiency was remarkable. Going 6 for 11 from the field, that's shooting nearly 55%. At the free throw line, she was even better, knocking down 7 of 8 attempts for an impressive 87.5%. This wasn't just volume scoring. This was calculated high-percentage basketball in the biggest moments. White didn't hold back her praise. She raises the level of play of everyone around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Dewana Bonner, another veteran addition to this squad, immediately stepped in to confront Sykes, showing the new protective culture developing within the team. The message was clear. Mess with one Fever player, you mess with all of them. What's most fascinating was how these incidents transformed the entire game. The Mystics thought they were being tough, thought they were intimidating their opponent. Instead, they awakened a sleeping giant in Cunningham and unified the entire Fever team. The officials reviewed both incidents, assessed penalties, and the game resumed. But something had fundamentally changed on the court. The energy had shifted. The Fever players weren't backing down. They were fired up. Coach White later described Cunningham as a dog, basketball slang for a player with relentless fight and heart. Sophie Cunningham noticed, calling the fans the sixth man and crediting their energy for fueling the comeback. If you stand with Indiana, comment Spicy Sophie down below. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen.